Welcome to the real journey of the entrepreneur. The journey of any entrepreneur begins with a decision, then writing down your vision, then the execution of that vision. It is not for the faint of heart. It is for those who understand how powerful your mind is and that you can truly create the life that you deserve. It does require a unique formula that includes belief in yourself, a lot of consistency, connecting with an OG, a lot of tears, missing out on a few events and things, and taking a whole lot of risks that will allow you to see your vision and dream come to pass. This journey of the entrepreneur is from the perspective of a wonderful mother, a business owner, whose goal is to break generational barriers and normalize the process of wealth building and financial wellness through entrepreneurship, all while creating a social and give back along the way. I am sharing this journey with you and invite you to share this process with me. Let's do this together. Your decisions, but you have to feel comfortable to own it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I will always support you.
Thank you.
Hey, y'all. We are back. Welcome to the real journey of the entrepreneur. It is your wonderful host and producer, Anita Pierce. I am back for a new season, new year. We are back. And guess what, y'all? I'm bringing somebody along with me for this journey. I have the best seat in the house, the best seat in the world where I can interview interviewers and entrepreneurs who have embarked on this journey of entrepreneurship and who have the courage to discuss their process. I think that one of the things that we find nowadays that's really dope and amazing about entrepreneurship is that it has different phases, it has different spaces and ebbs and flows where we can, really talk about what entrepreneurship looks like. I am a business owner at 11375, where I am providing services, business consultant services, project management consultant services for small businesses. I am a coach and would love to have you connect with me. You can find me on all the social platforms at 11375. I'll be happy to share our services with you. Now, I have a little soft spot in my heart for financial wellness. And I think that and when we are starting as small business owners, we don't really like to talk about the things that are our pressure points, like, money management, taxes and what that could look like, because a lot of us like to kind of avoid that stuff. But I have an expert here who is going to help us through this process, who is a serial entrepreneur. So, which means y'all got more than one, more than two, more than three, but definitely has over 10 years of experience in terms of knowledge, wealth, entrepreneurship, and now we talking about taxes, because guess what? Tax season is up on us, y'all. And so if we don't get our stuff in order, then we ain't gonna be able to get some of the other stuff in order in terms of our business. So I want to welcome to the table. Hey, Darren.
What's up?
How are you?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you. Looking good as always.
Thank you. You're
very welcome.
You are awesome. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you as well. How was yours? Or how is it going thus far?
I'm talking to you, so I'm alive. It's good.
All right, 10 toes down. That's the way we have to keep it.
It's good. So welcome to the table. We are talking taxes. Can you tell the audience a little bit about who you are, what you do in this space?
Sure, no problem. Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Anita, for inviting me and having me on your show. My name is Darren Downs. I have multiple businesses. One that we will be discussing today is my tax business. I own a tax office. It's TaxMasters, located in Jamaica Queens, 13810 Farmers Boulevard. I've been in business with this particular company that I started for 4 years. I'm going into my fourth tax season, and it's taxes is one of the most important things to not only individuals but especially businesses, because it's not only about your record keeping, and it's also about financial management as well, and that all comes together in one under one big umbrella, which happens to be taxes.
Which can be a little bit intimidating for some, but we're going to unpack that. And Darren is going to help you through that process because that's not my area of expertise. Thank you. So, when and why did you start this tax business?
So, ironically, my mother is a CPA, and I started doing taxes when I was 14. My mother used to have her clients come to the house, and they'd drop off all their paperwork, and she'd be up until the wee hours of the morning banging out tax returns. And I was very good in math. So one day I saw her and I picked up a file, and this is back in the 90s. There were no programs available to us at that point. So everything was done by hand. And I did a tax return for one of her clients, and she looked it over and everything was correct. Then she decided to teach me. I don't know why I decided to help her, because next thing you know, I became the person that she went to give all the easy returns to. Long story short, that's where I first got my beak wet with doing taxes. I never thought that I would one day own a tax office. So after college, I hit the workforce just like all of us do, and it was not promising. And I started off doing a bunch of different ventures. I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit since I was a child, but I started doing a bunch of different ventures. None of them really seemed to pan out the way that I wanted to. And I had basically come down to my last, and I realized that I needed to make an investment in something. And a friend of mine a couple years prior had advised me that he was going to open a Liberty tax office, which is a franchise. And at that time, I didn't jump in. So 2 years later, when, like I said, when I was down to my last, he was getting ready to open up his fifth office. And I asked him if he could show me how to get in, and he sold me his most underproducing office. Like, thanks. He gave me his weakest one. And I was able to take that weak office, which I purchased, and I grew it that year by 250%. Excuse me. The working with the franchise didn't work out. There's a lot of fees and a lot of other things that we could discuss at a later time when it comes to having a franchise in any industry. And I then took the knowledge that I gained from being under the franchise, because I will tell you this, Liberty Tax did teach me quite a lot about running a business, because they have a very streamlined process where they show you everything from A to Z. So I took what I learned from that experience and then opened my own. So that's how I'm here.
Okay. So you now have this business, tax business. You said 4 tax seasons, right?
Yep.
So what were your startup costs?
So my startup cost for this tax office was just about a little under 15,000.
What did that include?
Okay. So I had to gain a lease. I had to obviously lease a space. Then I had to do some leasehold repairs, which would be taking the space and converting it into what I wanted it to look like. I had to purchase furniture, desks, all the peripherals that go along with the business. And then I had to start looking for software to run the business, because obviously we don't do taxes by hand anymore. It's a much different process. So I had to purchase software as well. So all of that was just a little bit under 15,000. I was fortunate enough to have a manager that came along with me from my previous experience with Liberty Tax. So I didn't really have all the startup costs as far as searching for employees goes. And that can be a very expensive upfront cost because you have payroll before you even bring in any money. So fortunately, I was able to, with my experience from the past and the relationships that I had, I was able to have a pretty low startup cost.
Okay. So when you decided to do to actually register your business, how did you register your business within the state for tax purposes?
So I registered as a C corporation. The corporation to open a business is actually, as far as the filing goes, is really not expensive. We're talking, if you do it by yourself, and anyone can, it's less than $300 for the most part to obtain a C corporation. Your EIN is free. And then as far as this business goes, everything that you have to obtain as far as getting your PTIN and your EFIN, all your filings and everything on the back end administratively through the IRS is for the most part free, with the exception of some very small costs to get registered, which is a little under $100.
Okay. So what type of who is your target market that you serve? Do you do personal only, business taxes only? Who is your clients that you serve?
So I have a broad client base. I deal with a lot of small business owners and entrepreneurs, um, the working class, and I do some small business taxes as well.
Okay. So
So
let's
my
get
target, so just to narrow it down, my target market primarily is individual taxes, and then I do touch the small business taxes as well.
so let's talk about these individual taxes, right? So what's the funniest thing that you've seen come in your office? I'm always curious about like what the day-to-day amusement as it relates to taxes.
It's always amusing, but I will tell you the funniest is well, I'm in Queens. I'm on Farmers Boulevard, so there's a lot of hustlers that are on the boulevard. So everyone thinks that people have this idea that, when it's tax season, that they're just supposed to be able to file and receive some type of check.
Mm.
So they come in, they're looking to file their taxes. They have no paperwork, no documents, nothing, but they want to file and
Mhm.
expect to get $5,000 back as if they had a child or something like that. But you know what? I'm not. You want to know the funniest story? Here's the funniest story. One of my clients, he works in construction. So he filed, I think, in 2019. So he filed 2018 and 2019. He had his W-2s. Then he got moved to 1099, which is basically being an independent contractor where taxes aren't being taken out. And then for 2020, he was still had the same relationship with his construction company where he was being paid well off the books and he was supposed to receive a 1099. So he came to me with his envelope and he had the envelope in his hand. He was like, "Hey D, I'm here to file my taxes. I have all my paperwork. Yeah, son, got my kids. I'm ready to go." So he hands me his envelope. He's like, "Yeah, I just got the envelope right now. I just left the job." He was like, "Yo, just rip it open." So I opened it up and I'm looking and I'm like, "Bruh, it's blank." He goes, "What?" So he basically got a blank 1099. They didn't put any information on it because they never registered him in the company to pay to actually send the IRS information that he made X amount of money throughout the year. So it's not funny. It's not funny, but yeah. So he worked, it wasn't recorded. So he had blank documents. And it was just really his facial expression, because he kept coming back to me like, yo, how can I get in contact with the people to get my actual 1099? I said, well, you might have to talk to HR or to whoever does payroll. And he was going through all these different hoops and loops. And to this day, he still hasn't received his documentation. So that's probably, it's sad and funny at the same time. It's really his reactions though, because I would be pretty crunchy as well if I received a blank document.
Yeah, working for nothing. That's not cool. So let's get into the tax process in terms of, so dealing with someone who has a W-2, right? And oftentimes when it comes to the number of exemptions, people put like 10, 20 in there. Is that advisable?
That's not smart at all. Never do it. What happens is exemptions are based off of your dependents. Based off of your dependents, it reduces your tax liability. So you would therefore receive more money in your check. So let's just say you are in the tax bracket where they're only withholding maybe about 12% of your income. And then they're really supposed to be withholding like 22, based off of, the scale goes up based off of the more money you make, the more taxes they take out. If you're claiming 5 exemptions, which means you're head of household and you're claiming 3 or 4 dependents, then you're going to receive most of your check. And then at the end of the tax year, at the end of the year, when you go to file your taxes and you've made $100,000, and even if they were only supposed to be withholding, even if they were withholding 12%, that would be 12,000, but you're really in the 22% tax bracket where they should have withheld $22,000, and you really don't have all those dependents, you're in the whole 10 grand. And then people are always like, oh, I don't know how all this money, yeah, because you never allowed them to withhold enough tax. So then they look for all these different loopholes to say that they donated clothing and all these different things, that people come into my office saying that they donated a car, they donated clothing, they donated all these things, the taxes on their house. It's just never enough to help them out. And I'll tell you why. So you have a standard deduction, which is $12,500. So if you make $100,000 and you're single, that means that you're going to get taxed on $87,500. So $87,500 is what you're taxed on. And when you start itemizing deductions, that means that the amount of things that you're itemizing, all your deductions, your donations, things of that nature, have to exceed $12,500 in order for your tax liability to be reduced. The problem is, if you say that you donated $20,000 you made $20,000 in donations, and you have maybe your house and a lot of different expenses, and you push it to 30, 40,000 in deductions, that's a flag for an audit. And then that just takes you into opens up a whole other door that you don't want to go through, because once the IRS gets on your back, it's very difficult to get them off. It's like they're like roaches. Yep, one of those little eggs hatch, they're all over you. Can't get rid of them. No matter how many times you bomb, set traps, bait, it's just not happening. Sorry to use that reference. That's the best thing that I could think of.
It works for me because I get it.
Yep. You will not get rid of them for a very long time.
And so the best way, one who is in dealing with W-2s and taxes is how do we ensure that our taxes are being enough taxes are being taken out, or like how do we know which bracket or rate that and taxes that we are accountable for?
You should just be honest and forthcoming from when you fill out that your W-9. Um, if you only have, if it's just yourself, claim single. If you have a child, or if you have a child, then claim head of household and the dependent. So that way, I mean, the correct amount of taxes will automatically be taken out by payroll. So at the end of the year, you're gonna receive a refund if you've paid excess, or you'll be right at that point where, well, most people receive a refund back when the correct amount of taxes is being withheld. It's when you start playing the game, like we said earlier, you take 99 exemptions and then halfway through the year you go back down to one, but the average will never work out. So just be comfortable with whatever your check is until the end of the year. The problem that most people have is really with money management.
Hmm.
You know, if you're taking 99 exemptions and your paycheck is, let's just say your paycheck is $100 and it's really supposed to be 75, and you're at $75, and you're like, oh, well, I need more money. And then you get to the $100, you're still in the same predicament where you need more money because your spending increases. We're supposed to do the other thing, reduce our spending, invest, so that that money that you've invested can start to grow on your behalf so that you have money for a rainy day.
And we
And
won't.
then your investments will also start to pay for the things that you love to do. If you invest that money, then now your investments can cover your trips. They can cover vacations. They can cover your car. It can cover a house. But we're always working backwards. We believe that we have to beat our face into the ground to earn money to pay for things, and that's the wrong way of thinking. We're supposed to use our money to invest it so that our investments can pay for everything else that we like.
But then now you're talking about tax planning, right? Being responsible.
Talking about being responsible, money management, tax planning, investments, like they all go together, because obviously we have to work in order, like we need some type of seed money. Where are you going to get that seed money? Either you have to work a 9 to 5, or whatever it is you do, sell water in the street, dance, whatever it is. But you need that seed money.
Very true. So, in terms of tax planning, for those who are getting started, right? You mentioned having, on your W-4, having that information taken out appropriately. Now, what if they put in the wrong information? What if they don't know? Like, can they correct it?
You're able to definitely correct it throughout the year. And if I always suggest that if you're unsure, speak to someone that knows. Just just call your accountant or pop in at your tax office and say, hey, um, am I having the right amount of tax withheld from my paycheck? And do it early in the year. Don't wait until it's too late. Don't wait until Christmas to figure out if the last 12 months they were withholding the right amount of tax. I'm sorry, 3 weeks isn't going to change your tax situation. Do it at least by February or March.
So in other words, you're saying that folks should be doing like an audit of their information, a personal financial audit, for all their documents in order to make sure that they're in alignment.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. So I want to switch it a bit. 1099s, right? So I know
Hmm.
that when you're a 1099, you are not your taxes are not getting taken out. How does one who's just starting as a 1099 employee or contractor, how do they manage their taxes if it's not being taken out by their person that they're working for?
So an independent contractor, being a 1099 employee is you do have your own business. So no, you're responsible for your taxes at the end of the year. However, you have all of your expenses that you have to track. And most 1099 employees, the only way that they receive a refund during tax season is when you have dependent children, because then you qualify for earned income credit and things of that nature based off the amount of income that you earned versus your expenses. So 1099 employee, let's just say you're an independent contractor and you are driving Uber, because we have a lot of people now that do Uber, Shipt, Amazon Flex, DoorDash, Grubhub, all these different companies that everyone is picking up a side hustle for or doing it full time. So with that being said, now all of the things that you incorporate into making that business functional in order for that business to function, those are now all your expenses. So your car note, gas, repairs, food while you're out driving. If you happen to have daycare expenses, because you obviously can't keep your child in the back of the car while you're dropping off food. Who's gonna leave it unless if you leave a 3-year-old in the car while you go to run some food up, 10 flights of stairs, you might be dealing with a different type of situation when you get back. I've seen it happen, but these are the types of expenses that you incur, and they're all real. You have to really you have to become your own bookkeeper and document these things, so that when it comes time for you to figure out all of your expenses, you have everything in a spreadsheet, and you could back that spreadsheet up with the actual receipts. Also, if you have your computer and you're using it from home, then your internet becomes an expense. Anything that you use to make your business function is your expense. So with that being said, if you made $20 doing driving Uber, and you had $17 worth of expenses, then you really only made $3 net. So now when the IRS sees that you have everything documented and it's $3 net, then they're gonna have you pay tax on that $3. Now, if the $3 is less than your standard deduction, you owe $0. If it's more, then you have to write them a check. And then if we get into the dependents, now if you have, like with the earned income credit, when you have children, then the $3 that you earned, if you fall under the poverty level, then they give you the earned income credit, which compensates for the amount of money that most people would make based off of their situation. And then that's when the IRS will give you money for having children.
Okay, then. I have some things in my head that I want to say, but I will leave that for another day.
Yeah, don't be Shanae and go have 7 kids and then try to throw them on your taxes. That just doesn't work. I mean, they're only going to give you credit for 3 anyway. And sometimes that's when people start selling their kids. You might see a few on eBay, Amazon. I mean, it's that time. I wouldn't be surprised. People are selling their kids. I mean, I'd put mine on eBay, but not for tax purposes, just because, it is what it is. I'm kidding.
Okay. Yes, we're not selling kids. We
I know. We're not. That was a joke.
Yeah.
But some people do, though.
I know they do, but we're not.
I mean, I'm in South Jamaica Queens. Like, it happens.
Okay. We're not doing that. So, how does one know what kind of deductions they qualify for? Just pretty much coming to you to kind of like, they tell a story about who they are, and you help them through their deductions?
So there's the interview process, obviously. When every client that comes and sits down with me, I have to during that interview process, I need to find out what their situation is. And that includes what their relationship status is, and that doesn't mean what they put on, Plenty of Fish or something like that. I mean, really, it's, when are you single? Okay, if you file when you're single on your taxes, that means that no, seriously. Single meaning you are the only person in your household. You take care of yourself. You have no dependents. Even if you live with someone, you aren't legally married, so you file single. If you are single in a household and you have you are the primary caretaker of your child, and regardless of whether or not you might live with that child's other parent, if you are the primary person responsible, then you become head of household because you're taking care of all of the expenses and that child. Then you have married. Married is when obviously two people are married and they're legally married, so they would file married on their taxes. Married filing separate, that's when it doesn't mean that you're separated. You got, you caught, Kevin cheating with Maria. No, married filing separate means that we're legally married, but we want to file our taxes separately because we want to take care of our own individual tax liability. A lot of the times what may happen is, let's just use Maria and Kevin, for instance. Maria and Kevin are married. Kevin owes back taxes to the IRS. They file a joint tax return. They're supposed to get $15,000 back jointly as a refund, but Kevin, from whatever he was doing back in the day before they got married, owes the IRS $8,000. When that refund comes, they're going to snatch the $8,000 and they're only going to get $7,000. Maria might be upset because maybe 80%, 90% of that refund was really coming from her income. So in order to circumvent that, we're going to be married filing separate. So Kevin takes care of his own tax liability and she takes care of hers. And those are your filing statuses right there.
That was easily explained. Appreciate that. And so what would be some standard deductions or expenses that your standard deductions that people can take? So you talked about earlier the charitable donations that folks like to throw in. Like, what are some of the other things that could be listed or utilized to help support or offset some of the tax if one doesn't have a child, or some other things or benefits that they can give if they wanted a refund?
Okay, so as a homeowner, you can claim your the taxes paid, whatever your homeowner taxes are. That's deductible. Your mortgage interest is deductible. If you have donated to charities, that's deductible. Also, tuition. If you have any college tuition and expenses that carry over, especially through the loans, that is also deductible. There's a whole list that I'm just going to give you the basic ones because we don't have time to really get into each and every deduction that's available because everyone's tax situation is different. But for the most part, in general, those are the deductions that we have. And then if you do have a small business as well, in addition to working a 9 to 5, if you do drive Uber, or you have a side hustle, such as maybe you might do some consulting on the side, or you do catering or anything like that. The thing about having a small business or being an independent contractor or having an LLC is that those expenses, now that business gets filed with your personal income tax. So the expenses that you incur from your business, let's just say you started your catering business last year, and it cost you $20,000 in startup costs for your catering business. So all your supplies, et cetera, your advertisement, and then let's say you made 100,000 that year working for Verizon. Now, when you go to file your taxes and you file your LLC as well, and your LLC is showing a loss of 20,000, which was your startup cost, that 20,000 gets weighed against the 100,000 that you made. So now your income has been reduced down to 80,000. Then your deduction gets applied to that 80,000. So let's just say you own a home, and you have your mortgage expenses, your insurance premiums, and you've done some donations and things of that nature. So your itemized deduction is another 20,000. So now you have 40,000 that's being removed from the 100. So you're getting taxed on $60,000. And then if they withheld 20% of your income, which would have been 20,000, and you're getting taxed on 60, you fall into a different tax bracket where you're at about like 16%. So you're going to be getting back about $7,000-8,000.
So it sounds like we need to be making sure that our books are in order.
Our books have to be in order, because if your books aren't in order, you're setting yourself up. Well, they need to be in order, because if anyone does ever come and ask questions, at least you could just send them the file and they could review everything. And if everything's in alignment, then you won't have any problems. But you don't want to go create you don't want to have inaccurate data, because you don't want to get caught with your pants down with the IRS, period. Yeah. It's not fun. And I've helped a lot of people that have had a multitude of issues with the IRS, and it's never fun, going through someone's inaccurate tax files to substantiate the things that they've claimed. It's like it's like looking for a four-leaf clover in a clover field. It's not fun at all. I almost said something different, but
Oh goodness. So about the bookkeeping, so what are the best ways that for those who maybe W-2 employees to 1099 contractors, what are some of the systems that could be used to help them to track? Because we always joke about like keeping your receipts and, coming with a whole bag at the end of the year, and they just want to give it to the accountant or the tax planner or preparer and just kind of like say, here, you do it.
Yeah, when one of my clients comes and drops off a bag of receipts, I give it right back to them. Seriously. Because that's bookkeeping, which is a completely different service. I always suggest that they can create an Excel spreadsheet at home. And if you're not computer savvy, you can go to Staples. They have books which will say like, my record keeping for my business or my first business. I might not be saying it exactly identical to what each book says, because I don't personally own one, but I've seen them there and I've looked through it, and the way that they have all the expenses, it's very easy to follow if you're a pen and paper kind of person. If not, there's plenty of apps that are accessible in the App Store, Google Play, or if you have an iPhone, all you have to do is type in record keeping or bookkeeping, and they'll give you multiple apps that you can use, some free, some not. I'm not going to suggest any right now, obviously, but there's plenty available which streamline the process. So that's what I would say. That's what I would suggest for people to do. And then you have to stay on top of it. One thing about bookkeeping is like, don't wait until next week, because next week comes and then you won't do it. And then a month will go by and now you're in February, you still didn't record what happened in January. By the time June comes along, you forgot what happened in January and February and you're way behind. And it's a task to try to play catch up. So I always say just keep your records on a day-to-day basis, or just pick a day, a week, every like once a week, where you itemize everything, record it, and it just keeps you in line with how you're doing, where your money is being spent. Because one of the worst things about being in business is if you don't know where your funds are being allocated, there's no way for you to make adjustments. Hey, I'm spending too much money on payroll. Okay, well, maybe I don't need an additional 2 employees because we're slow right now. So you can reduce that cost. And you understand, it's about making adjustments. But in order to make adjustments, you have to be aware.
Yeah, I have in my plan, I do Freedom Fridays. So every Friday I'm looking at to see if I got all my invoices in, because there was a time and space where I was waiting until like month end and just like struggling for no apparent reason, like calling
Mhm.
folks like, why you ain't get my money, like all that type of stuff. So I just allocated every Friday just to make sure that I'm in alignment. So Freedom Fridays, that's what they are for me.
Gotcha.
So, in wrapping up this segment, 3 things that you can offer in terms of like taxes and tax planning for this new year. Because taxes, we're going to start doing taxes when, like January, the end of this month,
So
or
the IRS officially opens for accepting filing January 24th, which is in 2 weeks, 13 days. However, you could start, well, people's W-2s haven't even really come out yet. However, right now, what I would suggest, the things that I would suggest right now is, one, start getting your documentation in order. If you are one of those individuals who is an independent contractor, 1099 employee, have a small business, LLC, start getting all of your expenses and your documents together. Start doing it now so that when it's time to file, you can be prepared. Number two, that I would definitely suggest is to, if you are into any type of trading, the stock market, cryptocurrency, that's a big one. You you should start contacting your brokerages and make sure that your all of your documents are either being prepared, or start reaching out to download them, because they don't really mail these documents out anymore. So if you made X amount of dollars trading stocks or with crypto last year, and all you do is bring your W-2 to file, and next thing you know, the IRS sees that you had an additional income from trading, they're going to hit you with a bill. So you want to make sure that you reach out to all those different companies that you were working with, or brokerages that you were working with, and get that documentation together. And last but not least, a lot of people collected unemployment, so especially with the pandemic. You are responsible for your taxes, even if you collected unemployment. So if you did not have taxes being withheld from your unemployment, just be prepared to possibly have to write a check depending on how much you brought in from unemployment.
awesome. And so that's a wrap for us.
Okay.
So I'm excited because if you want to get your taxes done, Darren, where could they find you?
You can find me at TaxMasters, 13810 Farmers Boulevard, Jamaica, New York. And the phone number here is 718-481-3865. If you would like to email, it's info@masters.tax.
Repeat that again,
info@masters.tax.
Okay. Are you on any social media platforms?
No.
There you go. info@masters.tax.
Masters.tax. I'm so sorry. We do have Instagram. It's TaxMasters NYC.
All right. So now we come to the part of the interview that I always like is the one word rapid fire. One word, not multiple words, one word. You ready?
Ready?
Favorite borough?
Bronx.
Boo. What do you do in your downtime? If you have any. What do you do in your downtime?
Meditate.
What do you do for self-care?
Eat.
Pizzas or burgers?
Burgers.
Smoothies or ice cream?
Ice cream.
Favorite thing that you enjoy now in life?
Peace.
Places you would like to travel?
Australia.
Place that you would like to travel?
Australia.
In 3 years, what will change within the community that you're serving?
Gentrification.
That's a good one. The legacy that you would like to leave your family?
Generational wealth.
And there you have it. There you have it. On behalf of everybody here at The Real Journey of the Entrepreneur, we thank you for taking time out of your schedule. Please make sure that you contact Darren for booking, tax information. It's scrolling down at the bottom. So, Darren, thank you.
You're very welcome. Later.
So what makes this so awesome is that I have the opportunity to again interview really amazing entrepreneurs. So we got some information about taxes. I hope that you were able to take notes and also to be able to utilize that information to help you to stay informed about what taxes and what that looks like. So there you have it, info@taxmasters.tax for more information. But before I let you go, we have opportunities that you can, again, take advantage of as small business owners. Again, we have all of the chambers of commerces that are there that you can actually join. We have resources at the NAACP.org with grants. We also have Hello Alice with ubs.com, ubs.helloalice.com. And then we have additional resources, Brooklyn Accelerate Loan Fund, and also True Fund that has opportunity for small businesses. And last but not least, if you're looking for someone to help to support you through your process, I don't do taxes, Darren does. But if you're looking for coaching, please feel free to reach out to me. You can find me at the LDC and also through SCORE. And also you can check me out at 11375.com. So on that note, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join. Please be sure to stay tuned, stay locked, and see you again soon. Bye-bye.